Hi everyone, welcome to Faviola the Interpreter and Entrepreneur. I am pretty casual today again. Today is the last day I get to spend with my kids because they're going back to school tomorrow. Woohoo, right? Oh, sorry about this, my glasses. Anyhow, I hope you guys all had a wonderful Thanksgiving and that you guys were all able to enjoy it with your friends and family. As for me, as you can see in the background, I have tons of stuff to do, and it's stuff that I need to do for the end of the year. So how many of you can agree with me that basically starting now, we have to continue to work to close out the year, making sure that we cross our T's and dot our I's, that we enter all of our information into our billing system if we have a system, which I hope you guys all have a billing system. Also making sure that we pack up all of the 2018, invoices, work orders, anything that we no longer need, but we still need to box it up and save it for the next 5 to 7 years based on the federal guidelines, because you never know, we might need certain stuff, right? Also making sure that we update our systems, kind of like what I'm doing here. I'm updating my database, making sure that, I get rid of any dormant contacts, or sometimes, believe it or not, our POCs change, so we need to update those. Also, making sure that, as you can see here, I have my binders. I always say I love computers, but we can never rely on computers 100%. And even with these these portable storage, and let me show you here. I purchased these portable storages, and believe it or not, one of these fried on me a few years back. And in order for me to retrieve all of that information, it was going to cost me about 10 grand. Yes, 10 grand. But lucky for me, I had kept all of my important information, documents in my little binders, as well as I always upload. Sorry, this is bothering me. Also, I upload a lot of my information up to the cloud. I use Dropbox. I use Google Drive. You can never ever be too careful. So making sure that we, upload all of our information because it's very important, because it's very, very frustrating to lose any data and having to re-enter it into your system, so on and so forth. So I still use these. I still think they're great, but making sure that we store them in a secure place, store them in a place where they're not going to be bouncing off, or falling down. So what I do is I use these portable drives. I carry them with me, and then at the end of the day, I put them in my fire waterproof safe to make sure that they're secure, because all of this information is very, very important. So anyhow, just a reminder, make sure that you guys all dot your I's, cross your T's. Make sure that you guys go on to my freebie link if you have not signed up. I have a checklist of things that you can actually write off at the end of the year. Granted, those are not all of them, but for the most part, those are the ones that we use for as freelancers and entrepreneurs. So make sure that you download those freebies. Now, the other thing that I want to share with you is sales and marketing. Sales and marketing. How do you promote yourself now that everything is online and there's just so much competition? For me, I always go back to the basics. It has been working for me for 18 years, and I continue to use the same methods, the same processes. And so I have a list of let me see, over 1,500 customers that I do business with, customers that I provide interpreting over the phone, translation services, transcription services, some VA services. I also do online training, as you guys all know, not only for business entrepreneurs, but also for newly aspiring interpreters who want to get into this industry. So what I do is basically, I have different lists. I have my customer list, I have my interpreter list, I have my agency list, I have my entrepreneur list. Yes, I have a lot of lists, but you know what? I don't want to share certain marketing strategies or marketing processes to customers, because what I want to share with them is who I am, what I do, and what I provide. And hey, I'm still here, I'm still available. For interpreters, kind of the same thing. I'm still here, I'm still available to help you start, grow your business. For entrepreneurs, the same thing. So keeping things separate is very, very important. And having, you guys may think, oh, wow, God, she's talking about organization, but has a messy background. Well, don't let that fool you, because I have everything kind of set aside accordingly, just ready to file, ready to either enter into the system. I am a one-woman show, so let's get that out of the way first and foremost, okay? I'm not like all of your online gurus that are promoting themselves online, and they have staff and they have virtual assistants and they have people doing things for them. These entrepreneurs or online coaches, all they do is train, train, train. The difference between myself and all of those online coaches is that I am actually still out there providing services. I love what I do. I love interpreting. I love helping break that language barrier. So I still go out to the field, go provide interpreting services, either at the prisons, at the jails, medical facilities, conferences, you name it. I still do document translations, birth certificates, handbooks, manuals, collateral material. But I also do, again, a lot of the online training for those aspiring interpreters and entrepreneurs that want to start their journey, that want to start, the right way. Because yes, you're going to get all of the information on how to market your services on Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn, and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, when you're running a business and starting a business, you got to make sure that you have everything set in place. And that means your business license, your corporate organization, how you're going to organize your business, your insurance. There's just so much on the back end that a lot of these coaches do not provide for you. And what I do is I basically bring everything to the table. I provide you with from start to middle to finish of what you're going to need to do, because we can't start in the middle if we haven't done the first parts. And I know that a lot of you guys are like, I gotta start now, I gotta work now, and I need to make money. But take it from somebody that started her business on her own, that grew her business within a month. And I wasn't ready. I wasn't prepared. I didn't have these coaches. I didn't have people working for me. I did everything on my own. And so there was trial and error. And there was a lot of ups and downs and a lot of missteps and a lot of, problems that arose because of this. So therefore, I want to share that with you. With my trainings, I will provide you again, from start to finish. I will go over your processes and procedures, your strategies, and, checking to see what else you need to do before we move on to the next step. Because I've been talking to a lot of entrepreneurs who are like, okay, well, I've done this training, that training, and now I feel overwhelmed, and now I have all these to-do lists, and now I'm confused, and I'm stressed out, and I'm still not making any money, I'm still not promoting. Well, let me tell you, you need to stop that, okay? You really need to stop that. Why? Because you're just gonna, you're gonna overwhelm yourself if you haven't already. Because again, there's steps, processes and procedures that need to be set in place, in motion. A lot of you interpreters that are now working, and I get a lot of direct messages, and I apologize if I don't answer to all of them, but you know, when I am all over social media and I get PMs, DMs, and emails, it's kind of hard to answer to every single one. That's why I created that free Facebook group where I share tips, where I share you know, daily things that happen throughout the day as interpreters, the do's and don'ts. And one of the things that I get a lot from interpreters is, okay, well, I'm certified, but I'm still not getting any business. Well, one of the questions that I always ask is, have you worked as an interpreter before? And their answer is always no. Well, that's kind of like having a degree in business, having a degree in accounting, but you have no background and no experience. So you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot, and again, you're doing things backwards. It's all fine and dandy that now you're certified, but if you don't have the skill set, if you don't have the experience, you know, you're kind of in a dormant situation where you're just not going anywhere. And yes, there's still agency out there that are going to offer you assignments, but the question to you is, will you do an assignment that you have never done before and that you have no experience in, but you feel you're competent enough because you are now certified? Well, let me tell you, that's a no-no. I've seen it firsthand in the 18 years where I've seen a lot of certified interpreters where they're taking on assignments where they have no experience. And honestly, and I'm going to say this bluntly, where you have no business going if you have no experience, if you have not trained yourself, if you have not researched that area for you to get into. And what I mean by that is that, you know, a few months ago, I was contracted to do a conference assignment with this one agency, and they were just like, okay, I need to have an interpreter, a team of 2. So I said, okay, I'll be the secondary interpreter. She's like, okay, well, are you certified? Me, like I always say, I'm not court certified. I'm not medical certified. I have no certification. What I have is a lot of business experience and years of experience out in the field. And that for me has helped me get to where I am, because people know that I can actually do the job and they know that I have the experience, and a lot of the work that comes to me has been word of mouth. So that goes to show you that, you know what, I know what I'm doing. So I show up to the conference assignment, and it's simultaneous where we have to use you know, interpreting equipment, and the medical interpreter looks at me and she's like, I have no experience in environmental terminology. That's number one. So I'm like, whoa, okay, so am I gonna have to do this assignment by myself? 2, she's getting paid for it and she's not gonna help me, because that was her response. I can't do it. I'm like, okay, well, you need to contact the agency, because now we're like 10 minutes away from starting and you're telling me that you have no environmental experience. Did you tell the agency? She said, no, I didn't ask what type of assignment it was. Okay, number 1 mistake. Number 2, she's like, I don't know how to use interpreting equipment. I don't even know how to set it up. And the agency told me that I needed to set it up. Well, the interpreting equipment is very easy. For the most part, is easy if you're using the portable equipment, which you have the transmitter and the receiver. So I'm like, okay, well, that's an easy fix. I'm very familiar with working with interpreting equipment. So all you have to do is put on your headset, talk into the microphone, you're listening in and speaking it out. And she was like, I can't do this. So then I called the agency. I was very frustrated, very upset, as you may know. I'm like, okay, you said you were sending me a certified interpreter and you spoke so highly of this interpreter. I'm not saying that she wasn't capable of doing medical assignments, but I mean, come on, agencies, this is for you. And this is also for those freelancers that are subcontracting out assignments that are offered to them from other agencies. It is so important that you basically let the interpreter know what type of assignment it is. provide information to the interpreter so that interpreter can either say yay or nay, or at least prepare and give them that opportunity. But at the end of the day, you got to think about, who we are servicing. We're servicing the client and we're servicing the LEP. They are depending on us, on making sure that we are conveying the message accurately and completely, and that it makes sense. And if we're not doing that, then we're not doing our job as an interpreter. And so how can we say, with this, with our head up high, oh, well, I'm a certified or a qualified interpreter, but I have no experience. No, come on, people. So again, if you are a bilingual individual who wants to start their own business, who wants a career as an interpreter, the type of training that I provide is basically the do's, the don'ts, what you need, what you need to learn to be able to do this assignment, what you need to look out for when an assignment is being offered, what type of training you need to get in order for you to learn the terminology. There's just so much, but more importantly, I will tell you right off the top with some simple questions that I will ask you whether or not I will know whether or not you are serious, and whether or not this industry is for you, and whether or not you are trainable and coachable to be able to get into this industry. Again, when I started my agency in 2000, I deciphered, and I basically had a pool or a cadre of over 2,500 interpreters, which in return, I basically, I did a lot of researching. I did a lot of, soul searching, making sure that these people were going to be trainable, coachable, and that they were going to work out for what I wanted to do and how I wanted to provide services for my clients. And so then for those that did pass my question test, I got them into my own in-house training on what they needed to do, the steps that they needed to take in order for them to start their process and their training to become an interpreter. Once, they passed that, and then we moved on to the terminology part, making sure, okay, what areas are you going to be providing services for? What areas do you like? Because a lot of us, for example, myself, I don't like doing hospital assignments, for one. So therefore, I avoid doing hospital assignments unless I really, really have to, and there's, they don't have anybody to cover the assignment. Then I do like to help out, because at the end of the day, the LEP is the one that's going to lose by us not providing the services. But this type of assignments that I love doing are conference assignments, court, simultaneous assignments, anything that has to do with legal. I love doing legal. I love doing immigration. I love doing environmental, political. I love doing those type of assignments. So therefore, you need to decide, okay, what industry or what area am I going to want to do? Because just like when you're going to college, right? For example, like I said it before with my son. Okay, he started off at going to college and he wanted to do, environmentalist. So he went in, did a few semesters, like, nope, this is not for me. So then he changed his major into business. So it looks like that's the route he wants to go, doing into business. So it's the same thing with interpreting. Do you want to do medical? Do you want to do legal? Do you want to do conference? Do you want to do consecutive, simultaneous? You need to decide. So then we work around, making sure that I route you to the right place to get your training that you need for the terminology. And then basically working our way after that so that you can become certified. And in between that, we're working on your sales and marketing. Making sure that we have all of the ducks in the row so that you're able to promote yourself, that you're able to sell your services, that you're able to get your own clients. Also, if you're going to be working with agencies, making sure that you're promoting yourself correctly with the agencies, making sure that you guys are in agreement with your terms and conditions, because the last thing you want is spend all this money on your training and then making $20 an hour. Well, to me, for a lot of people that are newbies, that's probably, oh, great, $20 an hour. But then you take into account all of the things that you need to cover, such as your auto expense, your meals, gas, mileage, all of that, you're going to be making pennies on the dollar. So unless you have back-to-back assignments in one location, then maybe it'll work. I know a lot of agencies that offer like, you know, maybe 3 assignments in one specific location at $20 an hour, 2-hour minimum. So then maybe it's worth it. But if you're going to be bouncing from, you know, this side of town to that side of town to this side of town at $20 an hour, I'm sorry, it's not worth it. So again, if you are interested, if you like what I am sharing with you, make sure that you join my free Facebook group. Make sure that you go on to my link and download my freebies. Get on my list. On my list, I share with you a lot of tips, a lot of free information, a lot of guides, a lot of step-by-step procedures. And if you are ready to boss up and rise and you just want to start your biz like now, make sure that you sign up for any of my trainings. I have a special going on for all of those interested in the introduction to interpreting. That is my Black Friday promotion that I am going to keep up until the end of the month. So you got a few days to sign up and get half off on your training. So let's get ready to start. Have an awesome rest of the week, and I hope this video was of value to you.